Good morning, I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host this morning. This is Tech for Senior, episode 129, season 3, and this is September the 12th, 2022. Welcome, everyone. If you are watching this on YouTube, thank you for watching and thank you for being here. If you're in our live audience today, thank you so much as well. Today, we have an excellent program for you today. We're going to start, of course, with the security news. And then Ray's going to talk about foldable flip phones. Hewie's going to talk about the text extractor and screening ruler. Interesting presentation. I saw it yesterday. And Bob's going to talk about old gadgets, refurbishing old things. And then Ray, of course, is going to finish off with his music videos. And so that's our show for today. And welcome. For those of you who are going to be listening to our premiere service today, our 3 selections, and I'll be putting the link in the chat for you. It's also in our Saturday newsletter. Hewie is going to talk about sending large files in email. If you've ever had and you wanted to send a big file and all of a sudden your service provider says, no, you can't send it, it's too big. He's going to tell us all about sending large files by email. I'm going to talk about other purposes to use your e-bike for. So those of you who have e-bikes and want to see some other things to use your e-bike for, I'll show you that today. And Bob's going to talk about 5 reasons for using a VPN. And all those will be on our premiere service that will be at 1/2 the hour. Our meeting goes for about another hour. As you know, we broadcast this out on Mondays. We broadcast it to YouTube. So if you can't actually log in with our Zoom meeting, you can certainly watch it on YouTube. People wonder, how do I get there? How do I find where to go? Well, all you have to do is go to our website, www.techforsenior.com, and there's a big red button there. You click that and it'll take you to our YouTube site. We also have a show on Thursday called Tech for Senior Live, where we go over the news of the week and we drink some coffee, have a good chat. And that this week, Bill James will be joining us. And that is not a Zoom meeting. So we get a lot of people every Thursday, and I watch at 9 o'clock. There's a bunch of people log on to the Zoom meeting expecting to see the meeting. Well, they're sitting there usually till Monday because we're not there. So on Thursdays, it's not a Zoom meeting. We broadcast that out through a company called StreamYard, and that goes right to our Facebook page or to our YouTube, same place this is broadcasting over on YouTube. So you can watch it live either on our Facebook page or YouTube. So that's what happens. We also have a podcast. We podcast our Thursday show out. Let you know that last month, it's gone up now, 24,000 people watched 720 videos that we produced in the last 3 years now, soon to be 4. So anyway, lots of activity, lots of fun. We're having a great time, right, Hewie?
Yep, and that doesn't count the videos on my channel and on Bob's channel.
Bob's channel, and yeah, exactly. So yes, indeed. So anyway, let me introduce everyone this morning. Of course, I think we all know Hewie Popluck, co-host today. Hi. You had a great on Sunday. Your SIG did really well.
Yeah, it was the first time we've combined the Sarasota Technology User Group, STUG, and the Central Florida Computer Society, CFCS, into one special interest group. It hasn't changed anything, but it is now a special interest group for 2 different groups at the same time. And we had 67 people, and it was a good afternoon. I learned some things, everybody else learned some things, and we had a good time.
Now, if people wanted to come to that next in 2 weeks, is that
4 weeks?
4 weeks. They would sort of go to your website and have a look at and then sign up.
Yeah, there's a form to sign up for the WinSig newsletter, And do sign up for that, because I send it out once a month, and it lists everything I'm going to cover. Everything's going to be covered in the CFCS main meeting and the STUG main meeting as well. And there's usually an article or two there for them. So it's a good newsletter, and it's only once a month.
Right. Which reminds me, our newsletter comes out twice a week on Tuesday and on Saturday. So if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, Tech for Senior newsletter, please do so. We don't put any advertising in there, and it's not really a newsletter. It's a letter that we like to keep in touch with you, just to let you know what the happenings are at Tech for Senior. Otherwise, we have no idea who you are. We don't sell any advertising in it. We don't, and we don't sell the distribution list at all either.
And we have usually there's at least 2 different articles every issue that are very interesting and a lot of good information.
And on Saturday, I put the agenda in for the Monday show. So if you want to find out what's going to happen on Monday, it's in the Saturday newsletter. It's free. Just sign up for it, and we send it out to just under 900 people each twice a week. So it's a popular newsletter, and so please sign up if you haven't. Then we can keep in touch with you. Bob, I like the cool shades.
Thank you.
Is this a permanent feature of your new look, or what?
It might. I've had lots of good comments on it, but that's not exactly why I wear it. I had surgery. They lifted my eyelids, and my eyes right now are not something that you really want to show off. So I don't want to scare anybody and have them not attend, because I look like some ghoul. So the glasses were something I added. They're actually my wife's glasses. But I've had so many good comments that I told my wife, "Hey, hon, better pick up another pair of glasses."
Yeah, I don't think Alice is getting them back. All right. Okay. Thanks, Bob. And Ray, we'll be talking soon. You'll tell us all about your phone and all the exciting things happening with it. So anything new on Pine, Arizona?
No, the heat is gone. It's in the low 70s now. It's been in the upper 50s at night, just the kind of weather I moved here for. So I love it.
Are you getting ready for the big migration of all the northern people coming down for the winter?
I don't have to get ready, because then I kind of avoid Phoenix and Mesa and places like that when it gets so crowded, when the snowbirds come in.
The snowbirds are on their way. They'll be starting soon, eh?
Yeah, they will be here too.
yeah, that's right. In Florida, that's for sure. Well, all right. I just wanted to briefly mention last week was the big announcement of the iPhone 14 as this comes out. And I wanted just to remind everybody that there's a unique feature only in the United States with the i14. And that, of course, is you will no longer have a SIM slot in the i14 phone. It's all going to be in what we call an electronic SIM. Now, this is some good news and bad news. The security-wise, it's great because you can't have your SIM stolen. Bad news is if you travel internationally and you're used to putting SIM cards in from local countries, it isn't going to work. Also, the other big problem is if you have consumer cellular or you have one of the smaller companies, MNVOs we call them, then these companies often don't have eSIM capability. So before you go and snap up a phone in the United States, because these phones are only the ones in the United States, the ones sold in Canada, and the rest of the world all have a SIM card slot. You may want to consider that before upgrading. I just thought I'd run that by everybody to let you know. All right, Bob, are you ready to roll with our security?
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Here is the Avast Security News Roundup for the week ending September 9th, 2022. HP Support Assistant has a DLL hijacking vulnerability. HP published an HP Support Assistant Security Advisory on its website on September 6, 2022. According to the information, HP Support Assistant is vulnerable to DLL hijacking. DLL hijacking is a common attack technique that exploits weaknesses in the DLL loading order on Windows. If programs do not specify library paths properly, attackers may exploit the weakness by placing malicious DLL files in locations that are prioritized over the location of the legitimate DLL file. The vulnerability has a severity rating of high, the second highest after critical. HP published an update for its HP Support Assistant software that includes the fix. The company recommends that customers turn on automatic updates to install the latest version. Alternatively, customers may download the latest version of HP Support Assistant from the official website. Just follow this link. See more at ghacks.net. Major new Google Chrome security bug. If you're using Google Chrome or a Chromium-based browser, whether on Mac OS, Windows, or Linux, it's time to check for a critical security update. The security lapse involves a collection of back-end libraries called Mojo, which are used by Chromium-based browsers, including Opera, Brave, and Microsoft Edge. The Avast security browser was also affected, and it has been updated. The zero-day vulnerability is classified as high severity. Google's update patch fixes the vulnerability and updates your current version of Chrome to version 105.0.5195.102. If you haven't applied the recent update, or if your updates aren't automatically enabled, update the Chromium-based browser as soon as possible. Read more at CNET. Hackers claim to have breached TikTok. Who would have thought that TikTok would decide to store all their internal back-end source code on an Alibaba cloud instance using a trashy password? Blue Hornet tweeted on September 3rd. The threat group, also known as Against the West, said it had already pulled out over 790 gigabytes of data. In total, the threat actor has already extracted over 2 billion records. Considering the entries are from all over the world, it is unlikely we will sell or release this. Lastly, the data contains a lot of underaged people. Releasing such information along with the data that is being stored without users' knowledge is so dire that we think it would spark something dangerous, Against the West said on breach forums. TikTok is neither confirming or denying the breach claim. Read more at Cyber News. If you've listened to my podcast and other entries, by now you know there have been lots of breaches within TikTok. My best advice is simply get off TikTok. The U.S. imposes new sanctions on Iran over cyber attack on Albania. The U.S. Treasury Department on Friday announced sanctions against Iran's Ministry of Intelligence and Security and its Ministry of Intelligence, Ismail Khatib, for engaging in cyber-enabled activities against the nation and its allies. Since at least 2007, the MOIS and its cyber actor proxies have conducted malicious cyber operations targeting a range of government and private sector organizations around the world and across various critical infrastructure sectors, the Treasury said. The agency also accused Iran's state-sponsored actor of staging disruptive attacks aimed at Albanian government computer systems in mid-July 2022, forcing it to suspend its online services. Read more at the Hacker News. U.S. seizes cryptocurrency worth $30 million stolen by North Korean hackers. More than $30 million worth of cryptocurrency plundered by the North Korean-linked Lazarus Group from online video game Axie Infinity has been recovered. marking the first time digital assets stolen by the threat actor have been seized. The seizures represent approximately 10% of the total funds stolen from Axie Infinity, accounting for price differences between time stolen and seized, and demonstrate that it is becoming more difficult for bad actors to successfully cash out their ill-gotten crypto gains. Aaron Planty, Senior Director of Investigations at Chainalysis, said, read the whole story at Hacker News. This week's must-read on the Avast blog. Make sure you know the difference among the various state laws when they go into effect and whether or not they apply to your particular business. Read the article at the link listed. And that wraps up this week's Avast Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. That was great. The bad guys are still at it, I see.
They will never stop, not as long as they keep making money.
They do indeed. Well, all right. I wanted to move now into talking a little bit about foldable and flip phones. And one of the things that everyone needs to know is that, of course, there are such a thing as a foldable and a flip phone. The foldable, of course, opens up on itself and makes a bigger phone. The flip, of course, flips it down like we had when we started cell phones many, many years ago. These are immensely popular now, and these foldable screens. In fact, since being introduced, and they're being developed by Samsung Display, which of course is the subsidiary in Samsung Electronics that makes almost all the OLED displays and LCD displays in the world today. They sell them to Sony and a lot of other companies that make displays. And the immense popularity of the flip phone is incredible. Like the Flip 3 and the Flip 4 that's made by Samsung is an incredible piece of equipment. And I wanted Ray to tell us his experiences today with that. But the interesting thing I find is that, of course, Apple's big reveal event last week, no mention of any foldable or flip phones. So where are we going with this? Ray, tell us. This is, I think, a very interesting technology. I think you think it as well. So tell us your experience about it.
All right, let me share my screen. All right, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3. Now, the Flip 4 just came out. I'm going to be talking mostly about the one I picked up, the Flip 3. It's a 5G phone, and these are my first impressions after using it for about a month. I'll be back. Who said that famous movie catchphrase? I'll be back. Well, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 1984 science fiction film, The Terminator. Now, believe it or not, he used this phrase or a similar one in 6 more films. Now, flip phones were very popular at the turn of the century, although they did not go by that name at that time. Instead, they were known as clamshell phones. They stood out as the first to feature built-in cameras. Did you own a clamshell phone? Look at some of these pictures. I had one there. Remember the antennas that would pull out so you can get a better signal? Now, some of the more popular brands included Motorola with the iconic Razr, Samsung, LG, Sanyo, Nokia, and Ericsson. Some of these brands are no longer in the cell phone business. I doubt any of these still work on the 4G, LTE, and 5G systems in use today. Going, gone. The clamshell style cell phone started to disappear in the mid-2000s from the market as the public wanted more screen real estate on their mobile device, which today we call a candy bar style. The popularity of Apple's iPhone, which debuted in 2007, was a major contributing factor. So why I wanted a flip phone and why I didn't get one until now. The main reason I wanted a flip phone was simply for the comfort of carrying it in my pants or even shirt pocket. For a guy who wears jeans most of the time, I never found a full-size cell phone in the pockets of my clothes comfortable. The main reason I did not purchase one was the price. I once paid over $500 for a Windows flagship phone from HP, which 3 years later became a doorstop. when Microsoft and my carrier stopped support. The Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, when it was released a year ago, August 2021, was a $1,000 phone. Now they've announced the release of the Galaxy Z Flip 4. Galaxy globally went on sale August 26. The Flip 4 starts at $1,000 for the base 128 gigabyte version and more for the two larger storage options. Now, there's not a lot of differences between the Flip 3 and the Flip 4. The main ones are the Flip 4 now has a one generation newer Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 processor. It has an additional storage option of up to 512 gigabytes. And it's a slightly larger battery from 3,300 to 3,700 milliamp hours. Slightly updated camera for sharper photos and a larger cover screen that is more customizable. The result is a dramatic price decrease for a brand new Flip 3. I was able to purchase one from Best Buy in early August for my Verizon account for $300. So what did I get with a year-old Flip 3 phone? Well, it's a 5G phone, so it's ready for the future. The battery is 3,300 milliamp hours. That's low capacity, but it is fast wireless charging. Storage, 128 gigabytes, while 256 is available. The processor was the Snapdragon 888. That was considered the fastest Android of 2021. RAM, 8 gigabytes. The resolution is full high definition, 2600 by 1080 pixels. The display is a 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED screen. Now remember, it's half the physical size when flipped close. Water resistant up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. There's a specific IPX rating for that. The platform is Android 11, upgradable to Android 12. The camera is a main wide and then a second ultra wide, 12 megapixel, and the selfie camera is 10 megapixel. Video records at 1080p and also at 4K when using 30 frames per second with an electronic stabilization. The refresh rate is 120 hertz. Now that can be temporarily downgraded to 60 if you're looking for longer battery life. Stereo speakers, side-mounted fingerprint reader. Quite a lot of features on this phone. Now, what are the positives for me? Well, when closed, the phone easily fits into my pants or shirt pocket, yet when opened, the device has a 6.7-inch screen. Samsung says the Galaxy Z Flip 3 is rated for up to 200,000 folds. That's equivalent to 5 years of use if you fold and unfold the device 100 times a day. Now it has 8 gig of RAM, and AndroidAuthority.com says 8 gigabytes will provide a good multitasking experience plus some future proofing. For me, my old phone only had 4 gig of RAM, so this is a big improvement. And of course, the 5G speed. So I did a test with Verizon on their 4G LTE at home, and it was a paltry 21 megabytes up and 3.7 megabytes down. But when in Phoenix last week, I used the Verizon 5G that was available, and my speeds were more than double. Now, there have been some negatives mentioned by reviewers. The small capacity battery that may not last a full day of normal usage. I'm going to cover some of the solutions for that next. And then the lack of a micro SD card slot for additional storage. Yes, Samsung says performance is better when data is kept on the internal memory. I think the motive could be to encourage some to spend more money on a larger onboard storage option. And the lack of a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, please, that's no longer relevant as most use Bluetooth headphones. And for those still using wired headphones, adapters are available that plug into the USB-C connector. All right, here's my solution to the battery not being as large as some other phones. Most of the day, I'm working at my computer when I'm at home. Well, newer desktops and laptops have a USB-C port, the same as modern cell phones. This USB-C port allows for what's called fast charging. What does that mean? It means it can deliver and receive a charge at 15 watts as compared to the micro USB port on older phones, which is rated at only 10 watts. Many smartphone manufacturers say 60% charge in under 20 minutes. I took my phone from 0 to 100% in about 40 minutes. So, okay, let's say I'm not at home, but I'm driving around in my car. Well, that's when you charged your flip phone in the car, connecting the phone to a USB adapter plugged into a power outlet. Or you could use the USB connector that it comes with cars as well. Okay, now what do you do when you're not at home or in your car? And there will be situations when you are in those situations, such as hiking or just plain walking and taking pictures in a new city. These situations, when your phone needs a charge, have with you a fully charged portable battery power pack. One manufacturer claims its power station can fully recharge a smartphone twice to full power. Okay, now let's look at specifically at the phone. When it's folded at a right angle, they call that flex mode. And as you can see from this picture, now the one screen becomes two. So, and there's many examples of how you can use the two screens. And one example would be reading emails while watching a video. This is similar to having two desktop monitors, but obviously on a much smaller scale. So the flex mode for taking videos and photos. So you put it in that right angle mode, open it up halfway, and you set it on a flat surface, and you can then capture pictures and videos from various angles, hand-free, without the need for a tripod. A neat feature when traveling alone, as you can take selfies that look like someone else took your picture. Okay, Ray takes a video selfie. Here's my first selfie video taken with the Samsung flip phone. My wife wanted to know why I wasn't smiling. I did not have a good answer. So here is a video of myself that I'm taking as a selfie. The phone is in its right angle position, and I have some controls on the bottom half, and I can see my image on the upper half. Could not be easier. Don't need a tripod or anything else to do this. Just easily done with the phone. Now, my favorite feature is the flex mode for selfie picture taking. So again, you put the phone in the flex mode position, and all you have to do is say the word cheese, and the camera will automatically count off 3 seconds and take your selfie picture. And you can also raise your hand to start the 3-second countdown for your picture to be taken. Cheese. How easy was that? Now, I do recommend using a case. The phone can be slippery, so again, I recommend buying a case. In my case, my choice was a bright red color, so when I put it down on a dark surface, I can still find it. I can't tell you how many times I've lost my phone or misplaced my phone in the past. Now, I like the ones that have a magnet on the case because that allows me to, for an easy attachment to another magnet connected to a front dash car grill. And you can see there's a little U-hook there, and that operates as a stand to when I can watch videos without the need to hold the phone. There's a cover screen. The cover screen provides current notifications and battery percentage along with date and time in the closed position. Samsung Pay works by simply swiping the phone without the need to open it. Widgets can be set for music, weather, and other features to be controlled without opening the device. So a recap of my responses to the negative comments. People have talked about the fold crease. Yes, it can be felt and seen at certain angles. I quickly became used to it, and most reviewers say this is not an issue. The slippery feel, true. So get a case. Small battery, yes, the 3300 battery is relatively small by today's premium phone standards. But for me, it certainly lasts a full day since I'm usually at home or in the car where I can recharge when needed. Yes, no SD card slot. I've always liked that in my phones, but I've just learned to reduce the number of songs saved on my phone. And now actually I use my old phone that had a 200 gigabyte micro SD card as my MP3 player. And there's no optic telephoto camera lens, although it does have digital. As most of the photos I take are of people, not having this type of lens has not been an issue for me so far. So final commentary, Samsung also offers the Galaxy Fold 4, which is a full-size phone that opens double wide to form a mini tablet that runs $1,780.49 at Amazon. The Motorola Razr flip phone is Samsung's main competitor now, but no doubt other manufacturers will soon be entering this niche. My prediction is the flip phone will become as popular as the clamshells from 25 years ago, because with electronics in general, each year, as we all know, the products get better and over time cost less. There is so much more for me to learn about my new phone, but for now, I don't see myself ever going back to a full-size smartphone that I can't flip. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks so much, Ray. That was great. For sure. I've got lots of questions for you, but we're going to save those for the Q&A. Hewie, I think you're up next.
Two new power toys, text extractor and screen ruler. I'm Hewie Poplock. Two new additions to power toys are screen ruler, which is a quick and easy way to measure pixels on your screen, and text extractor, which is a convenient way to copy text from anywhere on the screen. Microsoft Power Tools is a set of utilities for power users to tune and streamline their Windows experience for greater productivity. Made by Microsoft and the Power Toys community. The Microsoft Power Toys were originally developed by Microsoft Research and released in 1998 as a way to demonstrate the power of Windows. Here is a list of the Power Toys. Some examples of these tools are Color Picker, which is a system-wide color selection tool for Windows that enables you to pick colors from any currently running application and automatically copies it in a configurable format to your clipboard, and Image Resizer, which is a Windows shell extension for simple bulk image resizing. Here are the two new additions to Power Toys, Screen Ruler, and Text Extractor. Let's do the demo. Let's take a look at Screen Ruler. Now, you might ask, why do you need a screen ruler? One is you might want to know what size a certain picture is, a space on a document. There are a number of reasons you might want to know how many pixels up and down, or how long something is, how much space is between one line and another. So there's a lot of reasons you might want to have a ruler. And let's take a look at a couple uses of the ruler. You'll see at the top, I've already clicked on the Windows Shift M keys combination, and that combination opens up the menu for your screen ruler. This is the menu up here at the top. Now, I had a little bit of a problem when I was going to make this video, that sometimes it came up and sometimes it didn't. I had to reboot a few times. I don't know whether it's a bug in the program or if I have some kind of a conflict. Either way, I've got it working. We'll take a look at it. So we have a picture here. We can do several things with this ruler. We can just check on the bounds of something, the spacing, horizontal spacing, vertical spacing, and the X shuts it off. Let's take a look. Let's do the boundaries first. This is an on-off switch, so once you turn it on, it stays on until you click it again. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to the corner of this picture on this website, and I'm going to click and drag it down to the bottom part. It tells me it's 715 by 400. When I let go of it, that goes away, but I don't know if you heard the pop or not. That's a signal on my system that I copied something. So it puts it in the clipboard. So if I come over here, I've got Notepad open so we can look to see what I captured. Turn that off and then come over here, and we're going to paste, and it's saying it's 715 by 400. So it measured that and then saved the measurement in the clipboard. You can measure anything you want. If you're doing the border, you could say, oh, I wonder how big this little box is. And let's see. And we've got to shut that off. Then we come down here, let's go to the next line and do a paste. And it's 291 by 125. So you can measure the size of something. All right, let's take a look at a Word document. When recording this, I noticed that when I go to the other spacing, horizontal spacing, and vertical spacing, I see a red line when I do that. So let's just look here. And I see a red line on here, but I think when I click that, you will not see that. And so I am going to skip this area, but you see what those three things will do. Now, what else could you do? Well, let's say you want to put a picture in your Word document and you want to have it on the side of, let's say, these three paragraphs. So you could say, okay, let's do the spacing here. And let's say we want it from here, and we want the picture to be about that much wide for the next to those three paragraphs. When we let go of it, then we can look over here, which you got to shut that off, come down here. And so we're going to look to put a picture in that is going to be 331 by 235. So somewhere around 330 across and 235 above. We want to keep it in the right proportion, so it depends on what our picture is. But we know that we want to keep it about 235 up and down. And then if it's a little bit more than 333, it'll just bring it over to the side of the page. So you can use this to measure anything you want, and that's how to measure things on your screen. For whatever reason you want to have them measured, you can. Now, another thing you might want to do is measure a particular window. If you're doing screen captures and you're going to leave it and come back, you want to know how big that window is. You might want to get the measurements of that window, and then you'll have the same size window when you start up the next time to continue the screen captures that you were doing for that particular presentation that you were going to be doing. Of the two new power toys, the one I'm excited about is Text Extractor, and it's one you'll probably find much more uses than the other. So let's take a look at a Facebook page. And sometimes you go to a Facebook page and you see it's a picture of something that's got words on it. In order to bring up the Text Extractor, you do Windows Shift and T for text. It grays the screen, and then you outline what you want the text to show. You heard the pop. That means it went into the clipboard. I come over here, and I'm just going to paste, and now I have that text as text that I can do anything I want. I can edit it, make a paragraph out of it, whatever I want to do with it. So there's lots of uses for this. Let's look at another use. All of your files that are in a particular folder. If I do the Windows Shift T for text again, and I want to grab just the file names of what's there. Now I come over here, let's clear this, and I'm going to now right mouse click and paste, and there are all of the file names listed there that are editable. I can move them around, I can put them in something, alphabetize them, whatever I want to do, which I think is a really good use of it. Another might be, let's take one of these articles that's here, and let's take this as a JPEG. And here's an article that was from an old newspaper. It's not real clear because it was taken from an old newspaper from many years ago. But let's go ahead. Windows Shift T. It grays it out. We're going to say, okay, we want to grab all of this information right here. We come over to our notepad. It could be Word or whatever you want to, whatever program you want to put it in. And then you just tell it, paste it. And there's that whole article. And it does a pretty good job of turning it into text. You might have to go back in and edit a few things, but for the most part, it does capture it, considering that's not a really good thing to copy. That same article was a PDF, so let's close that and open up a PDF of the same article, and you can see it here. And so now when we do the Windows key Shift and T, it grays it down a little bit, and we're going to take this information and grab it, and then close this, come over here, erase everything that's on there, and then we'll paste again. And again, it's the same article, and it actually did a better job from the PDF than it did from the JPEG, but it does either. So you can see, you can grab anything that's on the page and make text out of it. Something else I noticed that I could do is, let's say you want a list of all of your icons that are on your desktop. Again, Windows key Shift and T. And remember that T is for text. It's an easy way to remember it. So let's just grab these. I heard the pop. That means it went into my clipboard. I'm going to delete this, and now I'm going to do a right mouse click and paste, and there are all of the items that are on the screen. And so I then have a list of all of the icons that I have on my desktop. So that's Text Extractor. Microsoft Power Toys, Text Extractor, and Screen Ruler. I'm Hewie Poplock. And there you go. There's a couple of questions in the chat box. We'll cover them in the Q&A session.
Thanks, Huey. That was great. I'm going to use that. That's a great program. Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Bob. Reusing old things. Tech for senior. I guess we're all seniors, eh? Reusing old things.
Don't throw it away. Repurpose your old gadgets. Tech is constantly being outdated, and because of that, you might have a small gadget graveyard built up in your home. You spend a decent amount of money on all that stuff. It shouldn't go to waste. So before you get rid of it, let's go over some cool things you can do with those old dated pieces of tech. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and get involved. Computers, especially your laptops, there's still life left in it. Turn it into a Chromebook. There is a way to squeeze some life and performance out of your old laptop or desktop before it finally dies out. Install Chromium OS on it. Chromium OS is the open source version of Chrome's Chromium operating system, and it's a less intensive operating system than something like Windows. While Chromium OS can't do everything more complicated operating systems can, for most people, it's a more than fine replacement. Why not use that old laptop as a second monitor? If you've got a Windows PC and a Windows laptop, you can wirelessly connect them so that the laptop can serve as a monitor to the PC. Having two monitors is always nice, and this is a simple way to add on to your current setup without dropping more money on a new monitor. Be aware this is a wireless connection, so there can be some delay. How about turning it into a Plex server? Plex is a great service for watching your digital copies of movies and shows anywhere. The thing is, you need a central server for your library to live on. Fortunately, the software for creating such a server is available for Mac and Windows. So the process of turning your old computer into a Plex server is fairly simple. Have a laptop with a broken screen? Turn it into a desktop. A laptop with a broken screen can feel useless. However, there's a simple way you can get more use out of it. Just use it as a desktop. Buy an external monitor or salvage an old one, and you're good to go. You might need to purchase a USB hub with an HDMI port for this to work, though. Turn that old desktop case into a useful box. Your dusty old PC may barely boot nowadays, but if you tear out all of the internal hardware, then the actual case can be surprisingly useful. At the end of the day, most PC cases are just big boxes, and there's a lot you can do with an empty box, from a geeky mailbox to a unique shelving unit. Also a great place to grow some vegetables or herbs. Don't throw out that old phone. That camera is still good. Old phones may no longer be fun to use, but there are some things you can do with their cameras, even if the cameras aren't good. Use it as a dash cam. A dash cam is an invaluable thing for drivers to have installed, but the price barrier and setup process can make it a difficult sell. But with a simple phone dock and a car charger, you can easily turn your old phone into a functional dash cam. Just be prepared to delete the old files off your phone regularly to free up space. You can also use it as a webcam. Webcams are a rare commodity nowadays, but it's simple to turn your phone into a wireless webcam. The app ℚ𝕬𝕜 is great for this and is available on iOS, Android, and Ubuntu. It's available for free at the link listed. You'll probably also want a tripod for your phone for a simpler setup. Those old tablets, turn them into appliances. Your old tablets may take a long time to boot up, but that doesn't matter as much if it's only serving one purpose. How about a dedicated weather station for both Android and iOS? While a tablet may slow down over the years, you don't exactly need a lot of power to check the weather. You can set your tablet up with a kickstand and a charger and always keep your weather app of choice open. With the added benefit of virtual assistants, this is a great way to keep up with the weather. You can also turn that old tablet into a dedicated calendar, both iOS and Android, and a to-do station. Forget wall calendars and notebooks. You can easily turn your tablet into a dedicated scheduling productivity station in a similar manner to the weather station. Just install your calendar and to-do apps of choice and set up your tablet with a kickstand and charger. How about a recipe machine? Another simple option by keeping a tablet in the kitchen just for recipes is useful. It's also nice to have something more disposable taking this place than the phone or tablet you use every single day. You can also turn your tablet into a smart home hub. If you're heavily invested in the world of smart homes, you're going to need a place to manage all of your smart devices. And old tablets are great for this, as devices like the Amazon Echo and Google Home have companion apps for tablets. Apple also fully supports the iPad to act as a home hub. Homebrew your game console. While game consoles may appear as restricted pieces of tech at first glance, there are some bonus ways to make use of them nowadays, besides playing their respective libraries of games. Homebrewing. This refers to flashing ROMs of various games digitally to a console's memory. The process is widely different for every console, and as such, the difficulty level is also varied. The Wii, and by extension Wii U, is one of the simplest consoles to homebrew. So if you've got one of those laying around the house, start here. Besides that, your mileage will vary depending on the system you have available to you. Research will be key here. You can also use that console as a media setter. Your old Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 may be more useful than you think. Both of these systems can read DVDs. The PS3 can even read Blu-rays, but they also have access to apps like Netflix and Hulu. The online stores for both of these are still up, so it's as simple as downloading the app and signing in. Despite their age, these systems are still fully viable media centers today. Here are the projects that don't fit into any of the categories above. That doesn't mean you should discount them, though. They're still cool. Don't throw out that old digital camera. Cameras can be used as webcams. Many digital cameras can serve as webcams with a simple cord. But for high-end DSLR cameras, the process can be more complicated. Fortunately, Sony, Panasonic, and Canon have all released software that makes it relatively simple to set up your fancy camera as a high-end webcam. How about adding Bluetooth to your old iPod dock? Did you buy a dock for your old iPod so that you could listen to tunes loud and clear? Chances are it's not getting much use nowadays, but it can still prove useful. Through an adapter from Xiaocom, you can add Bluetooth functionality to your old iPod dock and use it the same way you would use any standard Bluetooth speaker. Here's something cool. You can turn an old monitor into a smart mirror. Why limit your mirror to only show yourself when you look at it? With a smart mirror, you could see the time, weather, and news, all while getting ready for work. This is a do-it-yourself project you'll have to spend some time on, and depending on how fancy you get with the frame, it can be quite expensive. But the results will be well worth it. Hopefully, one of these suggestions will save your old tech from being dumped just yet. While old tech may not be as useful as the brand new devices, it's always nice to save some money and save the environment by repurposing something and keeping it out of the landfill for an extended time. My thanks to Eric Schoen for his excellent article on Review Geek. To read the whole article, just follow the link listed. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob. Hey, some good ideas there.
Wow.
I can hardly wait to get going on some of them. That's great. I love the mirror. I gotta do that. That mirror's gotta where I can see the date and time in the mirror.
That's the most complicated of all of the.
Oh, but that's so cool, eh?
Have fun.
All right, listen. So I want to, before we get going on Ray's segment now, I just want to say thank you for those of you over on our YouTube feed. Thank you for watching today. We do appreciate it. And if you want to come over and participate in the Q&A, we still have lots of room in our Zoom meeting. And don't forget the premiere service. I put the link in the chat. We'll be starting at 1:30. And so we'll see you again on YouTube, same time, same place next week. I'm just going to end that now, Ray, and we will let you take it away.
The Queen's favorite songs. With the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, it reminded me that I first became aware of her importance as a young boy when I received a gift of a cardboard disc containing 7 small transparent color photographs of her coronation that I could view on my handheld Viewmaster, a marvel of modern technology in the mid-1950s. Now, according to those who would know, the Queen had a royal song playlist. As one might expect, favorites included show tunes, big band sounds, and songs from the World War II era. According to the website mylondon.news, this was Queen Elizabeth's top 10 song list. Now, I'm not going to go through each of these. This will appear in the newsletter, but not on this list is ABBA's Dancing Queen, which some say was her very favorite since she liked to dance. And after all, she was the queen. As one might expect, the band Queen is not mentioned anywhere. Now, admittedly, not all of these songs are familiar to me, but one stands out that I know we've probably all heard many times before, and that is The White Cliffs of Dover. Now, actually, the complete title is, in quotation marks, parentheses, "There'll be bluebirds over," close parentheses, "The White Cliffs of Dover," unquote. And Vera Lynn's version in 1942 became a popular World War II song. It's been pointed out that bluebirds are not native to Dover, and perhaps the American songwriters were not aware of this. Other theories include bluebirds being a metaphor for the American Air Force helping to liberate Britain and Europe. The Allied planes had their underside painted sky blue for camouflage purposes, which makes this theory plausible. Now, like her good friend, the Queen, Dame Vera Lynn also had a long and active life. She remained popular in the British music industry and continued to record, becoming the oldest living artist to top the UK album charts at the age of 92. By the time of her death in 2020, at age 103, she had been active in the music industry for 96 years. Now, during her reign, Queen Elizabeth II bestowed the right to place a Sir or Dame designation alongside the names of numerous musicians that included Paul McCartney, Adele, Bono, and many more. A shorter list of musicians, such as David Bowie and George Harrison, declined the honor. Now, this is a link again that'll be in the newsletter that provides the complete list and additional details. So today's video has Dame Vera Lynn in concert on June 6, 1984, commemorating the D-Day landings. The actual YouTube video link that I have here also contains a second song, "We'll Meet Again," but I've edited that out to meet our usual time constraints. Hope you enjoyed that.
Thanks, Ray. Great, great tune. Lots of memories there. All right. We're going to move into our question and answer phase now. And I want to thank everyone for coming. If you have to leave right now, don't forget our presentation at hour. There'll be the 3 that we talked about before. There'll be Hewie's going to talk on how to send large files by email. I'm going to talk about other uses of my e-bike, and Bob's going to talk about 5 uses of a VPN. So you'll find it a good talk, and that'll be at hour. Now we'll move into the Q&A, which we'll, if you have any questions, you can just click the little button at the bottom under reactions, raise your hand, and we'll be happy to answer the questions.
Ron, there's some things in the chat box I think we ought to take a look at
just
as well.
Before we do, I got one question I want to ask Ray. I got the first question I want to ask Ray before we get to all that, because I'll forget if I don't, Ray. Okay. Yeah. So Ray, listen, the question I have for you, on your phone, I think everyone understands now that it's a fully functioning phone flipped. In other words, you don't actually have to open it to actually do whatever you want to do, because it can all be done folded. In the day, if you look at through the day, would you say you could complete maybe 80% of your tasks without opening the phone? What percentage of the time do you actually have to open the phone to complete whatever you want? Can you give us a sense of that?
Yeah, let me it's going to be hard with the background. And it's not that much. There's a screen on it. I talked about it. It's called the cover screen. And in the cover screen, there are some features that come standard with it. It'll show you different notifications. You'll see, as an example, the number that's calling you. And you have the ability to either accept the call. In that case, then you have to open the phone, or you can decline the call so you can make time to call back later on. So the Flip 3 has quite a few of these features. The Flip 4 has even more. And what they're really doing is allowing other vendors to submit their widgets that will work on the phone. But
when it's closed.
I find no problem in taking the phone out. Again, you love the sound that it makes when it's closed, but when it's open, it's a full
phone.
full featured Android phone.
Very interesting. Okay, thanks, Ray. Hewie, chat
Yeah.
comments before we get to the questions.
Yeah, Bill Morgan asked, is having a magnet on or near a phone a problem? And I wrote I put an article in the newsletter within the last 2 weeks about magnets and computers and phones and so on. It shouldn't be a problem at all with a phone. Richard Clarkson says this phone has lots of things you can change to your liking as well. Correct, Ray?
Yeah, and I've only just begun to touch the beginning of it. There's so many different features, and I've been watching YouTube almost every day, and I learned something new. So it is a learning experience. But right out of the box, it's an Android phone, and if you change nothing, it'll be working for you for day one. But if you want to learn all these additional features and abilities the phone has, that is a learning curve.
And then Richard Clarkson said about the text extractor that I talked about. Google Keep will let you extract text from a picture or a label, etc. Yes, but you have to open up Google Keep to do that. With the text extractor, you just hit the keystrokes. The screen's ready for you to capture it. You capture it, and then you can put it, paste it in whatever you want to use. So you don't have to use another program. And then Steve asked, will the screen ruler also tell you the angle between 2 points? I think it tells you the angle, but you can measure the pixels from in any direction. And Ron, somebody asked, Liz asked, is the link to the Premiere video the same every week?
No, it's not. And the reason is the video changes. So it's a different link. So it is different each week. That's why I put it in the Saturday newsletter. I make it up on Saturday when I'm doing the schedule, and it's published, and then you can see the link, but you just can't see the video because the video doesn't play till 1:30.
But they can go to our channel at that same time and find it on the channel if they can't remember what the link is, or if they don't have it.
It's all there.
Yeah. And then Bob, can you put the link to the article in your presentation in the chat? And then there are some other questions there that are too long for me.
If you go to the video, you'll see that all of the links are there.
Another way is to wait for the newsletter, which often has the complete articles that we do here. That you'll get it the next day, and that's the easiest way to click on a link.
And if you have the Power Toys, if you do the Windows Shift T or Shift M, Shift T for text, should do that, you can grab it right off the screen during the video.
There you go. That's a good one, Hewie. Very good.
All right.
Thanks. All right. Excellent. Thanks for doing that. Jim, do you have a question?
Well, I'm back right from this, left off at the beginning of our chat. The minute we went in, the screen froze again. And I did try disconnecting the big screen, the monitor, from the laptop, and it just stayed frozen. So all I was able to do was shut it down again, open it up, and then rejoin the meeting.
Yeah. So Jim, there was a couple of suggestions we had for you. One was to disconnect the external monitor and just see if your laptop runs fine without plugging the external monitor in, and see what happens. And
I did that. Didn't work.
And didn't work. The other thing would be to try a different HDMI cord and see if it could be if there's a problem with the HDMI cord. Those would be the two selections that two thoughts that we had.
Is your laptop using Wi-Fi, or is it plugged in?
Plugged in.
So it's not using Wi-Fi.
Correct. I'm actually going from the router to the to a hub, and the hub goes into the laptop, and it's one of those 10 USB hubs.
Yeah, and I have the same thing. I have the same thing on my system here. My second monitor goes through a hub because it has because of the video, because I need a second video card in there. So I have the same situation. Jim, give those two selections two thoughts and try them and see what happens.
Okay.
Jim, you have problems a lot with all different kinds of issues, and they all seem to be power related to me in my mind. I'm wondering if a UPS with power conditioning, that would be like an APCUG, not APCUG, an APC, power ups, what are they? I can't remember what they call them. I think it's a Pro or something that has line conditioning in it. If you plugged some of those things into that for line conditioning, it may resolve some of the issues you have. I think you've got, you're in California. I don't know about your home, but the power fluctuations in California and maybe in your home as well might be causing a lot of the issues you're having.
Okay, so what is that through APC?
Which is the American Power Conversion or something like that. But any kind of a UPS that has power conditioning, get one, and then you plug everything in that's involved with your computer. You use it, except for you don't plug in a printer or something in it. But other than that, your monitor, your computer, your router, and so on, run it through the UPS. And what it will do is it'll kick the UPS into action if your power fluctuates enough for it to sink a little bit or go too high. It compensates for it.
Okay, I have used the UPS before. I just got lazy when the batteries died to replace it.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
I want to get on to Carl. I want to answer some more questions here because our time is running a bit short.
Okay, well, thank you guys. I'll try that.
Okay, thanks. Carl, go ahead.
It's a Microsoft Word question. You hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. And when I do control, I copy the chats all the time, and I do Control A and then, Control C and then Control V into Word. And it used to be I could easily insert page numbers when there's more than one page. And that feature in that ribbon is not there. And of course, I don't want to do footers and headers. And I don't know what happened, where it went away. Now, I know to change the ribbon, you can do a Control F1 and you'll, increase it or decrease it. Is anybody ever familiar with how easy it was to just insert? It would be a page and it came up, where you want to put it on your page. I don't know how I lost it. I'm not a word guru. Nobody knows. That's okay.
I don't know. Bill, I guess Bill James isn't, Bill's not, I don't know if Bill's here. Bill's sort of if he has any ideas. Can't answer that, sorry.
All right, thanks.
Go ahead, Dorothy.
Just a quick question. Great presentations on everything you did today. I like the one on old tech because I'm that person. I can't get rid of stuff, but I use it for other purposes. In the interest of updating people's Chrome browsers and Edge browsers, do they ever update by themselves as opposed to doing it manually? I mean, I'm trying to help all my friends do these updates, but
it's all automatic.
it is okay.
Yeah.
I haven't ever experienced it being automatic, but
Yeah, it should just happen.
And the Chromebook, I tried updating to 105, but it hasn't got to me yet. Is it just a matter
It's
of
coming.
toggle?
It's coming.
Oh.
I got 105 a couple of days ago.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
No, the bad news is there's nothing there, so I can't do a video about it.
Oh, okay.
You got to figure out what I'm going to talk about, but there's nothing really there.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, Jenny, go ahead.
Yes, I'm here in Florida. He's in California. We both have Lenovo laptops, and I blame the problem that I'm having, which I didn't have 2 years ago with this same laptop, on the router, because Spectrum brought me another router because the old one went dead. And it took 5 routers before they even got one that would work. And I blame all the problems I have, even though Spectrum says no, it is not my computer. I've had it in. I blame the problems on the router.
You know, I did find out that Spectrum does not give you new equipment. Those are all rebuilt or reconditioned instruments.
Okay. I don't think we're going to be able to solve that problem today, but thanks for your comments on that. Ivana, go ahead.
Hi. What power strip to protect for power surges do you guys recommend? I didn't read the article, but I thought Hewie.
Let me just put my comments in first. I'll tell you, I'm not so much, I mean, I guess there are ways of rating those power strips. I can't remember what it is. The problem I find with those power strips is they need to be new. If you got them in their old power strips, most likely they've had lots of hits on them, and they're not going to provide the protection that you need. That's the problem with power strips.
The higher the joules, the joule rating, the more hits it can take.
Right.
But there's also no way of telling when you do get hit, how severe is it and how many joules does it kill?
Right.
Okay. And when the amount of joules or hits that your power strip receives, then it becomes nothing more but just a simple extension cord.
Right.
And if you remember my video, the problem with extension cords, they're always in bad places. So they deteriorate just by the fact that they're hidden underneath stuff, they're covered up with stuff. So the advice is, when you get a new one, put a date on it as to when you got it.
Right.
And the recommendation is not to keep it longer than 3 years.
Well,
Okay.
that's helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, because mine, I'm sure, are far
Date
older
them.
than I.
Yeah, date them.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Ivana.
In answer to Carl's question a little while ago about Word, somebody put, Marcia Berkey put an answer in the chat box. Take a look.
Good. Okay, great. So there's an answer,
Right.
Carl. There's an answer. Look in the chat. Greg,
Good,
go
and
ahead.
Marcia,
Hey, I've had that same problem in Word. When I found that I had another file open than the file I was working on, I've got multiple screens. And when I clicked on it to insert it, it went into another file. My suggestion is look through it and try to find it.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Greg.
Yeah, I saw Marcia's comment, and I've done that, but when I go into headers and footers, the insert page is grayed out. Now I understand why I'm not able to use it, because something happened, it's grayed out. Not available.
Yeah, and Mary also gave you an answer in the chat box too. So take a look at that.
And just keep all your windows closed if you're going to start inserting stuff.
Especially if it's raining.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Steve, go ahead.
This morning, before this meeting started, my iPhone was up to date. It was at 15.6 iOS. I just checked it now, and there's 2 versions out. There's a 15.7, and the iOS 16 came out just like minutes ago. Should I go for the 15.7 first, or just jump straight to the 16?
I think it doesn't matter what we think. I think Apple's going to do whatever it wants to do. I'm not sure you have a choice on that. I suspect
You can download the 15.7 now, and then it says also available, upgrade to iOS 16.
Yeah, I bet you if you do the first one, it will either do the first or second one, but it'll figure that out for you.
going to give you the latest
one should have
available.
everything from the 15. Right?
It'll probably just do that, but it'll sort. That's Apple's figured that out for you. Just hit the update and it'll just update. You might have to do 2 updates. I'm not sure. But that will happen automatically when you do it. It'll tell you.
There's one neat thing that I found on Apple that I know Android doesn't do, and that is there's the Hey Siri thing. You can ask Siri what the fox says. It's hilarious. I wondered when I first saw it on YouTube, what the hell are they talking about? So I tried it, and it's based on 2 comedians in Europe somewhere who had a routine about what the fox says. And every time you ask Siri what the fox says, it comes up with a different saying each time. That's pretty funny.
All right. Thanks, Steve. Murray, you had one. We'll put you as the last question. Any comments or questions or what? Unmute your. We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You're not muted. It's
Right.
You're having trouble with your microphone.
Wrong mic is selected. We cannot
Well,
hear you.
We can't hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yes.
That better?
Yeah, we can hear
Yes.
you.
Oh, yeah, there's a
You're
mute
back.
button. There's a mute button on my headset that I'd accidentally pushed.
Oh, okay.
Okay, on the Word thing, of course, I only use LibreOffice, so I'm not sure what that thing, but you said there was answers in there. I was going to just comment that I think that, your suggestion about using a UPS, that's even better than a power bar, but it is a pain when you consider that the batteries don't last forever and they're expensive to replace. And I had a problem with the UPS where after a while it would just turn itself off. The batteries were still fine, but it would turn itself off for some reason, and of course turn off all the computers, which I didn't really appreciate very much. But anyway, thanks for a good program, and maybe we'll see you on Thursday.
Well, I hope so. You were here there last Thursday, so so hopefully we'll see you on Thursday. Don't forget.
Oh, I was going to mention on the chat. I think what Jim mentioned, or somebody mentioned, that they did a Control-A and then Control-C. It's a little bit easier just to go down and click on the little 3 buttons at the bottom and say save chat, and then you can copy it into your Word document. But that's a little bit easier.
Yeah. Thanks, Murray. All right. It is 10:20. It's time that we have to leave. I want to thank everybody for coming today. We will, of course, please come and watch our Thursday show. We'll be Bill James will be joining us on Thursday, and we will be talking about all the news of the week. In about 10 minutes, our premiere service will start. I put the links in the chat, and also that was in our Saturday newsletter. We'll see everybody same time, same place next week. Thanks for coming.